is the Conscious Radio Network.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you might be on the spaceship we call Earth. Welcome to Conscious Radio Network's live weekly podcast series, The Weekly Seance. I'm your host, Reverend Dr. Paul Meckes. It is finally October and feeling like fall, at least in this sector of the mothership. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please click subscribe, like, share, comment. You can also listen to this series on Libsyn, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcast, and soon Apple Podcast. And we are also on TuneIn. So, anywho, but let's see. One of our advertisers, let me go here. So, he wanted to say Alexander Nemo. Remember him from the show? He's got his book out, Magic Beginning the Path. But he says, happy October, everybody. The veils are getting thinner and reading is easier. Contact Alexander for a reading. He will help you make better decisions during your life's journey. Alexander uses his talent and insight to help his clients expand awareness, understand life events, move towards freedom, and in general, help get out of your own way. What's in the cards for you during this Halloween season? And coming up, not this Friday, but next Friday, the 21st, stay tuned. We will have David Edward on with his profound research in Atlantis, as Atlantis solved, the final definitive proof. I can't wait for this, and I'm sure you can't wait. This is revolutionary information when it comes to trying to find the city of Atlantis, and he found it. So tonight, we have a special guest. You remember her? She's back on tonight. Gloria Haas is a forensic visionary, natural-born clairvoyant, and has many gifts, including remote viewing, remote touching, hearing conversations, seeing and communicating with spirit, as well as visions and dreams with messages. She's an award-winning, best-selling author, performed readings for clients throughout the United States and the UK. A forensic visionary helping police and law enforcement find their loved ones. Gloria is also a vlogger and talk show host on Without a Trace and the Haas Reports. Let's welcome back to the show, Gloria Haas. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me, Paul.
You are very, very welcome. That's the second time I did this whole interesting opening, so how'd that go?
Went pretty well.
So tonight's topic is how a traumatic brain injury affected, I would assume, your spiritual gifting, correct?
Correct.
So this is a topic that we haven't discussed or even touched on at all in any of in the past two shows, or even hinted on it. So I'm curious. Let's go back in time as to when this happened, how it happened, and we'll move forward.
Well, on February 10th of 2020, a month after I had COVID initially, I had signed up to work at this one company, and I just could not keep up. I wasn't feeling good still, and I was weak. So I went in to turn in my badge, and on the way I was walking to the bus stop, I started feeling weird. And it was like one foot in front of the other, and things just started fading. I was aware of things around me, but I couldn't stop. I couldn't sit. My brain was just like on automatic. And next thing I know, I had hit my chin right here on the sidewalk. And there was a man walking his husky, and he goes, "Are you okay?" And I motioned for him to come over, and I felt okay. I felt fine, other than my chin and my hand hurt, my right hand, because I had landed, forced right onto the sidewalk.
Yeah.
And I called my girlfriend and said, and this is funny, I called a girlfriend and said, guess what? I just fell down and hit my face on the sidewalk. Just thinking, oh, I've got to go catch the bus.
Yeah.
I got to get home. And she said, did you lose consciousness? I go, yeah. And I didn't think anything of it. It was weird. It was just like, yes, it happened. And a week and a half later is when the concussion symptoms started. And I started having problems talking. I still have some issues talking. My memory started being affected, other than most survival things. And I almost walked out in front of a car, not even thinking anything of it. And they went by, and I'm just walking, going, oh, car went by. And later did my instincts pick up and said, that is dangerous. So I had to retrain my brain. Also, my legs and hips felt like they were jello, and it took 9 months for them to feel like they were connected to my body again. And I'm still going through rehabilitation.
Yeah.
6 months, 34, 36 months out.
Wow. Yeah. I've had quite a few injuries. And I mean, when something like that happens, it's especially when it hits you slow. I mean, when you have, you hit your head or anything like that, especially with with the head, a motorcycle accident such as myself, and it's like, luckily nothing happened. I hope. I mean, today, this is a long time ago, and but as time goes on, do you the symptoms? When it first happened, you said you started like losing, was it like memory, and then you said speech?
Yep. And I also, my reading, because the MRI showed global brain damage through my whole brain and my brain stem.
Yeah.
And it was scattered throughout. I also had trouble reading. I still cannot physically read a book today.
Wow.
I can look at it and I can go up to maybe a page, and that is it. But don't ask me what I read, because I won't be able to tell you. And I listen to audiobooks, and I can start remembering what they're about. And I'm starting to remember, oh, I've watched that movie before. And if I can start saying what's going to happen in the movie, I keep watching it to make sure that I'm remembering right, instead of before the head injury. Oh, I watched that movie before. Let's move on to something else.
Yeah.
And I find that people with heavy accents, I have trouble understanding it. That was something else too. I could not understand the English language at times. It sounded like chipmunks. When you turn up, how you used to turn up, the cassette or something on really high speed, and it would make that noise.
Yeah.
That is what I heard when people spoke to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh. It kind of like rewired.
Hmm?
Yeah, kind of like rewired the brain, so to speak. It's
yes.
Yeah, and then your perception of everything and the cognitive abilities and stuff like that.
Because of the brain damage.
Yeah. What not okay, yeah. You said this is in 2020. So it wasn't that long ago.
No.
At all. Wow. Now with how has it affected you? Has it heightened your mediumship abilities?
Not at first. It completely wiped them out.
Ooh.
They were non-existent.
Yeah.
And whenever I would try to see if I could do it, I would get excruciating migraines, because I don't know if you or other people are aware that the minute the brain is damaged, we have neural pathways, and they automatically start looking for healthy tissue to rewire. So I was unable to even do that. I had a hard time speaking. And it's like a stroke patient. Right after their stroke, they swear. I found out how many words I did know, because it's out of frustration, because you're unable to articulate. And I couldn't even do complex problems. So when it came to my gifting, it was gone, and I just felt weird. My head was stuffy, and it just felt as if, when they say lights on but no one's home, it just felt vacant inside. I didn't even know if I was going to get him back.
Yeah. As far as like memory recall, what was like just general memory recall? Like 10 minutes early, 10 minutes later, did you have, like absolutely nothing, and then it just that slowly started coming back as well?
Yes. I had a girlfriend ask me, do you remember 30 years ago when you and my daughter did this and this? No, I have
Mm.
no recall of it today either.
Yeah.
And sometimes the memory can be jogged. And I also had a friend of 30 years ask me, do you remember when we used to hang out? We used to do this and this. Out of 10 years friendship, I
Yeah.
only remembered 3 incidences doing something with him and
Wow.
his daughters. Yeah.
Huh.
So remember, it was just, there was nothing there. So when I would talk with people, if I would hang up the phone, it would be like what was said.
Yeah.
So it was on the phone. I had to start taking notes and
Eh,
to remind myself of what was happening, what was going on. Or then I started repeating everything in my head so I could build my memory. But there comes a point when that happens that your brain
yeah.
becomes OCD that you have to stop that process.
That is, huh. That is weird. So I'm starting to realize my platform is saying that we're broadcasting, but we're not broadcasting. It says we're live. So, um, that explains why I'm still at 0. I'm like, why isn't anybody watching? Uh, but the platform is saying that we are broadcasting. I don't get it. Um, but I tell you what, it doesn't matter. It's recording. So it's still a show. The show is going on. So maybe that's something that, yeah, gonna have to find out later. But I don't know. It is recording, and it's probably, I don't know. Maybe YouTube is having a weird scuffle. So I'm just gonna continue with the broadcast. Now let's see. Have you noticed? Has there been any change in your spiritual work, your mediumship skills? Has it changed something? Have you noticed something in the way you read, or in the way that you're receiving signals and information from spirit than from before?
Yes, completely different. I started 9 months, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. 8 months. I had to count on
Yeah.
my fingers. 8 months. I had received a message from Spirit that I needed to go on Facebook. And I had a girlfriend. I sent her a text message, what do you see me doing? Like a week before. She said, I see you working with dead people. And
Oh
I just
wow.
started cracking up laughing, going, oh, really? I don't see this as an interest. Well, other
Wow.
than watching Bones and Criminal Minds, and, and stuff like that, and watching cold case files, which
Yeah.
I always had liked, that was where I thought the extent was going. I didn't realize it was a new passion. So I heard Spirit say, go on Facebook, and on a friend's feed, there was a missing persons. And I just started seeing, when I looked at the picture, I just started seeing visions, what happened to her, and all this information, who was involved. I started taking notes. And
Yeah.
it's like, just like then, right now, my hair's standing up. I could feel the nerves, but it was just really, really weird. And then I called the police department, and
Oh.
of course, get the questioning about do you have any ties here? And I used to be in that area years ago for like 5 months. Only I didn't know anybody there, and I didn't know the person who was my friend on Facebook either. And because this was like in 2007. So it was just really, and I hadn't heard anything about the case when I was in northern Minnesota. So it was just weird. And the police was talking, we have to get, vetted. And then they handed it over to the detective who re-vetted me. And he's just like, you are disclosing things that was never released to the public. And I had never done that before.
Yeah.
So then I could actually speak with spirit and speak with a person's spirit and get answers, and then things I didn't know how to translate, how do I unpack this? So I took everything literally. And with working with the police, I could find out what was literal and what wasn't. I saw her walking through the woods. Well,
Yeah.
and I saw her sitting up against a tree, and actually part of her was in the woods and part of her was under by the tree and around the house. And I saw her walking through the house, but her part of her remains were around the house, buried around the house.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So somebody, we got, obviously they can't watch the show because they're like, it's still showing something. So, hello, Paul, what happened? I don't know. So, I have no idea. This is weird. It's going to be another, shake fest for the owner of the platform. Going, what happened? Maybe another bug. I don't know. But so also too that as you're getting these signals and stuff like that, or a spirit is talking to you, you're getting. It seems like you're getting a little bit more detail, a little bit more information than before.
A lot more. And when I did my readings before, when I was in my 20s, I would see visions of where that person was headed and everything. And now I pick up on what, like the one reading I did, what is there about pencils? And the mother just laughed. And because they thought I was a fake. And then at one point I looked, because it was mother-daughter, and I looked at her and I said, was there about this certain musical instrument? And her daughter goes, my mom doesn't know how to play that. Her mom said, I never said that I wanted to learn it, but I was thinking about it. So
Yeah.
I could start picking up on thoughts, not what they were actually doing, but other thoughts. But also in the past, when I gave someone a reading, it was 17 years in advance. Little did we know. And now it's more what's going to come up soon or what's happening now.
Yeah. Huh. So let's go back to the time of the injury and kind of like maybe share some information for those who may have suffered an injury in a past, maybe recent past. As far as those that might be, I wouldn't say struggling, but yeah, struggling or have questions like, what do I do? How can I battle this? I mean, you've obviously recovered quite quickly, in a 2-year period.
I'm not fully recovered.
Not fully recovered, but
I will never be fully recovered. I will have this I will be in recovery for the rest of my life.
Oh, wow.
And then I still battle cognitive decline because of my age.
Yeah.
So there is a chance of my getting dementia.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Now, as far as emotionally that you've gone through this, and what would you suggest people do as far as like thought processes, their attitudes, their way of doing it? Because I mean, you seem to, I wouldn't say, not to take it lightly, but it's just, you seem to be in good spirits, at least most of the time. I mean, on the show and stuff like that, and on social network and stuff like that, and with your books and your authorship and stuff like that, you seem to be keeping the spirits alive. What do you have to share as far as somebody out there who maybe suffering from an injury like this?
It was at the 1.5 year point that I started feeling like a human being again. And now I'm feeling more with a personality, and my bubbly personality is back, which I had beforehand. But there are some things that I liked then that I don't like now, and vice versa. And I found through I started looking on my own because of COVID. The insurance wasn't going to prove anything for 6 months.
Wow.
And I'm like, I don't want to waste 6 months of just laying there where, I felt, and it was intuitive that I needed to do something. So I went on Facebook, and there was this one group that later I was referred to, and they were telling me what I needed to do. Like, there was an app that it was a circle, and then you had letters, but you had to make words out of them, like in the crossword above it. And that started getting my brain going, that firing off, new neural pathways and new neurons. But be careful of how much you overtax your brain. If you're getting a headache, stop. If you're starting to get a headache, stop. Because if you keep going, and I found this out, you can overstimulate your brain to the point where you black out.
Wow.
And if you're standing up, you're going to have very little notice that you're going to pass out. And I did, and I had happen twice over a weekend. One was on a Saturday and once was on a Sunday. And the one time I could feel it and went to sit down and hit my head on the floor, and I broke open my scalp a little bit. And I didn't know for a few days that it was there because I couldn't feel it. And there didn't seem to be any blood, but I could tell where there was dried blood. And on another day, I went to grab my walker and to go sit down on the seat. I ended up falling over it, turning around, slamming up against the back of the closet with my back, and slid all the way down.
Yeah.
And that one, I was only out for 5 minutes. And the other one, I believe I was out for 20 minutes.
Ooh.
And if you overdo it, let's say you're in bed and you overdo it. I was speaking with a nurse whose son had a head injury. And doctors don't tell you much of what to do and what not to do. And then she said, we can't even wake him. I said, because his brain is shut down because it needs to heal. And when it is done going through the process of being overly tired, he will wake up. She said, well, that's what happens. So if there is like a brain alliance, like in Arizona, we have the Brain Injury Alliance in Phoenix. I called them. They have free classes. They have information, what you can do, because where I live in Tucson, there are no cognitive therapists. I ended up having to go back to a behavioral therapist to get control of my emotions, to teach my brain to get more control over it. And I was lucky enough that she used to work with coma patients and head injury patients, to where she was able to teach me what I needed to do. That's where I started writing books again in fiction form. And I first wrote a children's book and then a crime fiction. And my brain's still behind the 8 ball, because one of my friends said there was quite a few proofreading errors. I said, where? Please. And she said, I'll let you know when I get back from vacation. I said, please, because I need to retrain my brain.
Yeah.
To what's going on. So you do need to retrain your brain. Some people have to learn how to feed themselves, how to dress, how to do personal hygiene, depending on how much damage they have with their brain. And depression can set in. I was very depressed, and I was suicidal from the head injury because of the damaged tissue. It wasn't that I was depressed because of the result. I was depressed because of the brain damage. It's not a fun road.
No. I mean, I've got a really good imagination, and then I'm trying to imagine it. It's like, I mean, I've had weird moments where I'd be in trance and stuff like that, and doing a reading or getting information, and suddenly I'll snap at it, and I'll have absolutely have no idea who I am, where I am, and then it just all slowly starts to fade back into reality. So, and that is scary. I mean, when that happened for the first time, that didn't happen very long ago, like probably at least 3 or 4 months ago. When you completely lose all cognitive ability to where you don't even know who you are. That's happened once, and that is scary. And it probably lasted for probably about a good 1 to 2 minutes. And it's like, oh, what am I? Where am I? Who am I? Where am I? And yeah, that is scary. And was that something also that you experienced, that you didn't know who you are?
No, I knew who I was. I knew the date and everything. And it's just that I didn't know who certain people were. It was like where I lived, it was like, I don't know who that person is, but I know to stay away. I knew to stay away from them, but I couldn't tell you why.
Yeah.
And it was just like stranger danger. A lot of people became strangers. Were strangers to me who I had known, before the head injury. And I ended up moving to a different apartment complex that was better suited for me.
Yeah.
And for my dog who wants me to get up and get her ball and throw it. So if you hear any whining, that's my dog going, oh,
yeah. So yeah, there's people chiming in on the chat going, we can't see you. I'm like, I am, for the first time now, trying to open up. I'm opening up a help thing here through the network, through the software. So I'm trying to, this is definitely multitasking, trying to carry on a conversation in a show while you're trying to get tech support and explain what's going on.
Oh, speaking of multitasking, people with head injuries should not multitask, because what you're doing is you're spreading your brain out, and your brain needs to focus on one task at a time. And even I was writing a check out in the office where I live, and the manager was asking me questions, and my handwriting was horrendous because I wasn't concentrating on writing. I was talking and trying to write, and my handwriting didn't even look like mine.
Ow.
So you need to be really careful, one question at a time, one task at a time.
Yeah. Ow. I am supposed to be live on my YouTube channel, and the platform says I am broadcasting, but I'm not.
Do you want me to look?
Yeah, if you can look.
I can look on
awesome.
YouTube. Yeah.
It says I'm broadcasting.
No, I have to put my glasses on. Here we go, subscriptions.
See, I got something here.
Well, I don't see where you are.
Yeah.
Let's say, it says upcoming live streams. No, it says upcoming for tonight's show.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like it's just stuck there on the thumbnail.
Yeah.
Yeah. Casting on my YouTube channel. But I am not. Somebody chimed in from the network, from the platform. Yay! Now can you fix it?
Please.
Right? We're almost halfway through the broadcast. Yeah. It's good to have live. I think they got people standing by. I'm like, man, I don't think I'd get paid enough to like be on call. Like, hey. Because you imagine how many people would possibly be having issues, and it's like, am I the only one, or are there like hundreds?
My saying is, if there's one, there's always more than one.
Yeah. Yeah. You successfully streamed live via Wave before? I'm like, yeah, all the time. Yeah. Now, as I'm having a second conversation with tech support, how now, as far as writing, and continuing your books and stuff. How has that shifted?
Well, before I realized that before my head injury, I had a learning disability, and my mother ignored it, and my father ignored it. No, you're just a normal child.
Yeah.
Well, I exceeded in some areas. I couldn't grasp some concepts and put them into the why. I had a difficult time with that. And whenever I would tell doctors, they would say, "Oh, no, you're just fine. And, you're just learning slower." But it went all the way up through adulthood, so I never knew what it was. But after my head injury, my writing had gotten better. It's really taken off because I was relearning how to write, relearning the English language, and learning how to use adjectives properly.
Yeah.
And I did have someone help me with timeline issues on my book. And then I was able to train my head. I was just able to pick it up. And then my brain started saying, "Oh, you need to add this here. Oh, you need to add that there." And then I could stop writing. And then it was just like, "Oh, no, you need to do this before that." So the timeline started falling back into place. And my brain does process backwards. It's something also with some head injuries. The brain will start processing backwards. You'll start writing sentence structure backwards.
Yeah.
And to you, it might look right, but I had to start having people help me on, what was the correct one. I had one friend say, "Oh, that's okay. American Sign Language, things are backwards." I said, "No, I need for my brain to process forward." And it still does backwards at times. If I'm tired, my brain will really go backwards. My sentences, speaking or writing, texting will be backwards. And then I'll just sit and look at it and go, "Wait a minute, that's wrong. Okay, now I can rearrange it." And stuff like that. So the writing has really helped, and listening to audiobooks have helped my brain start going in a forward motion.
Yeah.
I won't be able to drive a car again.
Mm.
My doctor says, "Well, you can drive." Well, there comes a point where my brain will short circuit and I won't know what to do, or I do things backwards. So if I'm driving and I'm supposed to hit the brake and I hit the gas, or vice versa, that can cause an accident, or, so I don't feel like it would ever be safe for me to get behind a wheel of a car. So I took myself off the road and used transportation service.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that which is ironic because I sent you that I think I sent you a copy of that Uber thing a couple days ago. And
the driverless Uber, yeah.
Yeah. And and I was like, which is ironic because now that we're having this discussion, I'm thinking, well, that was sort of appropriate, but didn't know that you didn't drive. And I'm like, however, I don't think I would trust a autonomous Uber vehicle as well.
No, I use door-to-door paratransit service.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I don't even use Uber when there is a driver in the car. Because my transportation service is a lot less than an Uber would be.
Yeah.
But that was weird watching the videos going, "Hey," and they're just, I'm like, "Oh my gosh,
Yeah. Let's see. Now they're looking. They're like, "We want your YouTube URL. Here it is. Help me fix it." Yeah. So multitasking. So basically you use local transit, bus, taxi, Uber, Lyft, or
it's who the city uses.
Yeah.
They have on their bus transportation service, they have your regular bus system, then they have door-to-door paratransit, and I use that one.
Yeah.
There's something that I want, when we were talking about with the brain and how my head injury has affected my gifting, there are times where if I do too much through the day, that I will get dizzy. Well, my vestibular system, my whole system of balance is off. It's getting better. But I have to be careful of how many readings that I do, because I can get extremely lightheaded and get headaches. And that's when I was helping the police. I have to be really careful I have to limit that, and part of the limitation of activities. And right now I have cut back on doing any readings, kind of receiving a whole bunch of prophetic information, and I'm taking notes and I'm doing videos on them. And it's just like one after another after another. And that makes me tired to where I end up taking a nap for maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes. I can go to sleep for 45. I don't know how long my brain is going to need that time to sleep before I wake up.
Yeah.
And I'm not overexhausting it. It's just that all these different dreams and everything else that's going on with the visions. It's a whole new way of doing things, and each day is different. And on top of that, having COVID lungs from having had COVID, I woke up on Saturday hardly able to breathe. Yesterday was a little better, and I thought, I hope I sure wake up in the morning feeling a lot better. And I did. I feel normal today. But also that if the oxygen, even though when my doctor sees the information, it shows that I have oxygenation level is normal, but I have a difficulty breathing. So at least my oxygen, my brain is, getting enough oxygen of what it needs. So that's something else, that if people are doing alternate reality drugs, they really should not be doing that during the time of healing, so the brain can heal correctly.
Oh, wow. Well, my tech support person is telling me take a screenshot. Okay, I'll take a screenshot. However, let me turn off some stuff here so I can.
While you take the screenshot, how about if I continue talking?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I don't want to have any dead air. No pun intended.
Oh, I feel so when coming on. No, I'm kidding. That is something else that I've experienced. Is I've never had a spirit drape their spirit over me, and that was just really different to have.
Wow.
Also, I forgot what I was going to say, and that happens too with train of thought. You can think of it, and then it will be gone. People say, "Oh, that's normal." I'm like, well, I'm glad that it's normal, but in regards to my gifting, it isn't normal. But when it comes to, that was something that happened to me recently. Before my head injury, I could feel bad spirits all the time. And I ended up doing a reading for somebody last week. I didn't have any red flags go up. No alarms went on. The red flags just started coming back. But I didn't have any bad feeling, which I sometimes would do even after my head injury. And I did the reading, and then all of a sudden everything went crazy afterwards. It was as if whatever spirit they had attached to them attached to me. And I started sending them messages like, oh no, that's not how we are. And then it came out, oh yes, that's what they did. So they purposefully sent something to me that would be a spirit of chaos. And that literally, it screwed up my PayPal account and everything, and other things. And I'm just like, well, I know not to do a reading for them anymore, and couldn't understand why. They said, well, no one wants to do a reading for me. I'm like, what's going on? But then when they started explaining something in the reading, it's just like, things were not adding up, but I couldn't put my fingers on it because there was nothing there. It was almost as if they had a force field or a bubble over them, and I couldn't read through it. And I used to be able to read through a lot of them. And there were still some people I couldn't read, but I could read into what situation was going on. But like I said, it was after the fact that all this weird stuff had happened, and I had to do, clearing out and cleaning up. And I wrote to them, and they overpaid me. And I said, once my account gets straightened out and the money clears in my account, then I will go ahead and send you the overage that you sent.
Yeah.
And it was weird. It was just all weirdness that they did on purpose. And it's like, I can see why people who worked with them would just walk out on them. But see, before that, ahead of time, that would have been a flag right there, a red flag, to where I would have ended the reading and said, you don't owe me anything. I need to stop the reading right here.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen this time. It was just wild.
Yeah. Do you do public events in your area?
No, we don't have any public events in the area except the second Saturday of the month. But because of health reasons, I'm unable to be in a lot of public venues.
Mm-hmm.
And I would need to have someone go with me because I had landed full frontal and my bladder was hurt. I cannot be without a bathroom every half hour to every hour.
Yeah.
So, that's slowly getting back together. So I just mainly would do online events.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so much today you can do online. It's amazing. I mean, look at this.
Yep.
Hey, we're doing a show. And I mean, there could be thousands of people watching, but our tech support's still working on it. So, but otherwise, hey, when things work, it works well. So, but, so you do, people can book, online, readings with you?
Yes,
Correct.
they would need to write to me, send me a message, because if they go to my Linktree, it has a contact form on there with my list. Just scroll down and they could send it to me, and then I can send them a link to my calendar to where they can figure out, because I only do readings on Sundays right now.
Okay. All right. And normally what about like 15 minutes? How long are the
Yes,
readings?
20 minutes. Yeah, 15 minutes. No, 15 minutes. That's right.
All right. Yeah.
I can't really, then I have to spread out. I would need to take like an hour to an hour and a half break in between. So I have my calendar spread out that I do that and just dedicate that for Sundays, because too much is going on through the week.
Yeah. 15 minutes can be a long time to do a reading. I mean, I remember when I first started doing readings in some of the psychic fairs and stuff. It's like, wow. You're giving all this information out and stuff like that, and you think a long time has gone by, and you look at your watch and it's only been 5 minutes. It's like, what happened?
So I say up to 15 minutes, depending on the information that comes through.
Yeah, I'm going to.
When I used to have readings done, 30 some odd years ago, the people would do the reading. We'd be done in 15, 20 minutes. And then they say, and I thought for a minute they were playing solitaire because they would use regular cards. I'm like, oh, that one goes over there. And then they go, no, Gloria, just don't touch. We're not playing solitaire here.
Let's see. Our tech support is back. Send them some more screenshots. Here we go.
But what I've noticed since my head injury, there's more synchronicity or whatever that word is.
Synchronicity.
Yes, a lot more of that going on in my thought processes.
Yeah. Huh.
And I'm thinking, why am I thinking these things? And then I find out after the fact that what I was thinking is what was happening at the time. And then today I was sitting on the couch thinking things through, and there was like a message that came through, and I'm just talking in my head, and then like, okay, thank you, Gloria, bye. I'm like, what? I said, bye, you're welcome.
Yeah, like you were having a conversation with yourself.
Right,
Like
but come to find out,
yeah.
I wasn't.
Huh. Wow. I mean, that's similar. I mean, that effect is similar to like what they have for nowadays. You've heard of they're doing stuff with psychedelics, and they're finding out that microdosing on some of these psychedelics, like the psilocybin mushrooms, stuff like that, and are becoming more and more studied because they're finding out that it can, I wouldn't say cure, but kind of go after certain symptoms of brain stuff or all kinds of smoking cessations, all kinds of stuff. So
And they've been using some of that for smart pills.
Yeah.
For people to enhance their intelligence, but once they stop taking it, their intelligence wanes down because the medication is what was firing off those different neurons that they hadn't used in that fashion before.
Yeah. Huh. Wow. Let's see here. No. Yeah. Trying to. Yeah, tech support. Man. I'll have to do it after the show. I mean, we got what, 10? Yeah, 10 minutes. Yeah, 10 minutes. I'll have to talk to them afterwards or tomorrow or something like that. But yeah, but it does record. That's the good thing. So the show's not lost. It gets archived in the software, and then we can go. If I have to upload it again, hey, upload it again. Why not? Okay.
Yep.
If like I think what was it, like last week, we couldn't do it again. See, I think I hexed myself. Because then I think I said something just before we went on air or something like that or whatnot, and it's like I don't know. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
We may both have done it, so we'll both take responsibility. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was telling my girlfriend, this is my last interview of the year, and earlier I was really, like last week I was really tired. And it's like, do I do the interview or don't I do the interview? So those energy, I take responsibility for that energy. So I apologize. And I thought, no, I need to do the energy because there gets a point in when you start doing your career and stuff that you don't feel like doing things which you need to do, or you're going to start getting a reputation of not being reliable. And it's like, but I enjoy these interviews with Paul. Okay, I'm doing the show.
Yeah. It's okay. Oh no.
Right. Oh, we could blame it on the after effects of Hurricane Ian.
Good. Yeah. Full moon. That's even better. Oh, it's still here.
Yes, it is. I saw it this morning when I took my dog out.
Yep. And it was really full. And Jupiter. I think it was Jupiter. You can see Jupiter. There was a certain point where you can see Jupiter right next to it. It's really awesome looking. It was like, whoa. Looked like something from a sci-fi movie. It was really cool. But yeah.
I could do a pen on words, but I won't. Go ahead.
How many books do you have out?
30.
Whoa. Wow.
Yeah, I have 19 blank line journals that I put up there for people to do, and I have nonfiction. I just I gave 2 of my nonfiction books a facelift with a new cover, and got that uploaded, something more modern. And I ended up selling one of the books with a new modern book cover. So I'm like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
And then I have my crime fiction. There's quite a few of my books I've written in the past. I have a time travel book out, and that's Heart of My Heart series, Rose's debut. And that was, I think I wrote that one. I can't remember when. But I don't remember. I think I was just waiting to see if I was going to go ahead and write, book number 2. And for some reason, life got in the way, and I hadn't written it yet. But right now, I'm working on a science fiction book, and then once that is through, I will start on another crime fiction.
Yeah, I know what that's like. I keep telling it's been almost 10 years now, if not 10 years. I was going to start writing my book 10 years ago, and I maybe got a page. And it's just, I think my excuse is writer's block. I got writer's block. No, it's just you're lazy. You don't want to write. Your hand's going to get sore. I mean, I get tired texting half the time. It's like, oh my God, can I just talk? So,
yes, get the Dragon software and talk
yeah.
into a word processing program.
Exactly.
And just talk.
Yep. And then now see, my Mac will actually do that because I don't even need the software. It has that little button, and you can just, hit it briefly and then say something. But unfortunately, Mac must be in another language because I'll say stuff and it's like, I didn't say that. It's like, I did not say that. And it's like, blah, 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 blah. So
you have to program it to understand your voice.
Yeah. I mean, you literally have to speak very slow, precise, and concise, and
enunciate.
Yeah, you definitely have to enunciate very clearly when you're talking. So, yeah. So, I'm getting somewhere. See, it's the end of the broadcast, and I'm actually getting somewhere on the IT. So, interesting. But it'll still be out there. So yeah, so 30 about 30 books. That's substantial. That's a lot of information, a lot of material. And everybody can go to your website to purchase these books.
No, they go to Amazon.
Oh, okay, Amazon. All right.
Yeah, but they can go to Gloria, my link tree, and then I have individual books listed in there, and they can click on one of those, and once they get a book up, they can just click on my name.
Yeah, cool. And that link tree thing is right down there below in that banner when you get to see it. But
it's just now going off the screen.
Yeah.
It'll come back around.
And it'll come on back.
There it goes.
So for those who are going to be listening to, it's Linktree, linktr.ee/Gloria Haas, HASS books with an S. And they can also find you on YouTube. You got a YouTube channel.
Yep. Twitter, Instagram.
Twitter. Let me bring that up real quick here. So let's see. Facebook. There we go. So there's a Twitter one. That's simple. Just your name, Gloria, GLORIAHASS. And the same for Facebook.
But Facebook has a .9 afterwards.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, I think .9. Yeah. But if somebody were to plug in your name and stuff like that, it would be able to search for it, though, right?
Oh yeah, I come up everywhere.
Yeah, there you go. Let's see. It should be. Is it that one? Yeah, Facebook. Facebook at GLORIAHASS9.
.9, isn't it?
Yeah. Is it .9?
I think so. I don't know. I'll bring it up a window and I'll let you know.
Yeah. Awesome. Let's see what my tech support's saying.
Yes, it's .9. Gloria.Hass.9.
So my tech support says I got booted off of YouTube, but they can't see why on their end. I'm going, huh? Still looking to see if we can resolve this here or not. Give me a moment. I'm like, Show's got to be done. I used to do 4-hour shows, but that's no.
That's a long time.
Yes, it is. Yeah, when I first started Conscious Radio Network, it was 4-hour shows. Obviously, we did breaks. An hour break, and then an hour, and then another break, and then an hour, and then another break, and yeah, it got pretty tiring. So yeah, but so you're working on a new book?
Yes, science fiction book. Yeah.
Awesome. Any details or not spoiling it? Or hint?
Well, a little past life regression in there, and
right.
Some dream voyaging.
Oh, okay.
And also, it's a story of a young woman, and it starts when she's in her 20s, and the choices that she made, the backstory brings her up to what's going, in her life and why she made the choice. And then all of a sudden she starts having interesting, strange things happen. And that she just doesn't understand. She talks with her best friend about it, and her best friend takes her to a metaphysical conference in the area. And first they go to past life regression, and her friend Charlotte knows the man who's leading it. So that's where it's going. I already know what is going to happen in between, but it's going to show the progression of how she went from knowing nothing about anything metaphysical to slowly having it being introduced, and all this. And during this time, she's having all this ET stuff going on, only not knowing what's happening, like levitating while she's sleeping.
Wow.
And stuff like that. And then she finds out years later, all this finally gets tied together for her. But that's all I'm going to say. But meanwhile, she goes through all the different experiences, all the different emotions that go with finding out this information. Some information was withheld from her until later on. And then the anger, she gets angry, and her personal feelings of what is going on? Why did you choose me? Why is, what's happening? And then how she starts resolving some of this in her mind. And the end of the book.
Wow.
But meanwhile, she has her best friend to talk to about this and to bounce things off of, and a friend of her best friends. Also in the metaphysical area field of, he knows some people, and introduces her to help get some answers. And even though there's very few answers.
Yeah.
But it explains things that are going on, and they talk about, well, what if, this is happening? And he goes, oh, I heard of this one person that this happened to. So this is real. It's not really your dream state. At times you could be having a dream, but then where does it come into that you're voyaging or that you're sleeping?
Huh. Yeah. Now, might be able to do this next year. I was going to ask you quickly as if you personally have had any extraterrestrial experiences.
Since I was a child, yes.
Mm.
Yes.
Wow. That is another show.
And that is after my book is finished.
Yes.
Because I really need to concentrate on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, I will be happy to do that with another show for you, and be the first person and your audience to hear all of that.
Yeah. Definitely. So yeah, we're at the end of the show. Even though it feels like we're in an alternate universe, because we are live, but we're not live. But yes, we are, but no, we're not. Yeah, no. It's like, What's going on?
We're in both places at once.
Yeah. And it's like, so it's kind of recorded, but it will be up for those who weren't able to see this live and take part in the live chat. Yeah, I'm sorry, but I know technology. We have to deal with it, unfortunately. But anywho, Gloria, thank you very much for being on the show tonight. And,
Thank you.
Welcome back anytime, and definitely, keep us posted on your work, and all my thoughts and prayers with you, and healing energy as well. There's
I
nothing but
appreciate it.
healing, so you're very welcome. And I do appreciate it once again, and lost for words. When it gets to the end of the show, it's like, like, now what? Yeah.
Could always do this scene from Sound of Music.
Yeah.
Where they go, off beaters saying goodnight, adieu, adieu to you and you and you.
Yeah. Yeah.
My bad.
That's been a long time since I saw that movie. Man, it's been a long time. I mean, and one movie I see every year during Christmas is It's a Wonderful Life. I watch that religiously every Christmas on Christmas Day because it's such a cool movie. And for those who have not seen It's a Wonderful Life, you gotta see that movie. It's so awesome. So, and it is. It's always a wonderful life. And Gloria, thank you once again. You have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Blessings, my friend. Until next time, I'm sure we'll talk before the end of the year. Maybe not this way, but by phone, by chat, by social media, and whatnot. But much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you are very, very welcome. Everyone, thank you for watching later. And please subscribe if you haven't. Subscribe to the channel. Like, all that stuff. But yeah, lost for words. Like, share, comment, and please subscribe. And until then, everybody, you have a wonderful, wonderful night. Thank you for listening and watching Conscious Radio Network. Until next week.